Now, Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u and other leaders are urging women in political and key leadership positions to play their part in pushing for gender parity in all institutions of society if Kenya is to achieve the constitutional threshold of 2/3 gender principle. Speaking at a conference in Mombasa ahead of the global 30th commemoration of the Global Women Conference, Justice Ndung'u said the strides made should inspire reflection on the country's journey and motivate future endeavors. Eugene Nambeka has more from the coast.
A month until the commemoration of 30 years since the 4th World Conference on Women in Beijing, where landmark declarations were made, women leaders have gathered to take an early look at the country's progress on gender parity. At the launch of a series of public lectures, with Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u as the guest speaker, hard truths were laid bare about the state of women in politics and positions of power.
A woman declares her intent to run for the office. The challenges emerge almost instantly. Networks are narrower, and too often our competence is questioned before our manifestos are even read.
50% of the population means that we cannot be outside. And you know, when we say we want 50%, they say, those are too many seats, you're asking for too much. But we have the population. We are only asking for what is rightfully ours.
Drawing on the work of Kenyan gender parity icons and trailblazers such as former Karachuonyo MP Phoebe Asio, Judge Njoki Ndung'u says although the target is yet to be achieved, the progress is commendable.
You know, just a sprinkling of women in a parliament then that had 108 members of parliament. But it was really Beijing, the Beijing conference in 1995, when the women of Kenya, the voices of Kenyan women started being heard within government. In 1985, first of all, a conference was held in Nairobi. So the government was hosting. There were no women ministers. There were no women to host a women's conference. Can you imagine that?
It is not an issue anymore about stereotyping our women, but if it was able to be done from the 60s, the 70s, all the way to the current generation that we have, I'm confident that tomorrow someone is going to stand on a podium, probably better than this, and say that I once stood on the shoulders of others, and those others will be mentioned by each and every one of your name.
The judge, who served as a nominated member of parliament between 2003 and 2007, is urging Kenyan women to do their part.
I have really worked to do my part in trying to see how can I contribute to keeping women safe. I think I can say I've done my part. And that is my challenge to each one of you who are here today. How will you help another woman?
As the country takes stock of its progress on gender parity, the elephant in the room remains achieving the constitutional 2/3 gender principle. Eugene Nambeka, NTV, Mombasa.